How much fun would it be to talk with Trenton-born and Pennsbury High School grad Richard Kind about his acting career and his good friend, George Clooney?
Do not get to George Clooney. I never talk about George Clooney.
But just a few minutes later,
my joke about George, I'll talk a little bit about him.
By George, we will talk about Clooney, Larry David, Bobby Carnevale, indeed, the actor's life, with actor Richard Kind. Next on Fresh 24. Richard Kind, as you said to me before we golfed last winter, Zumoff, don't judge what I'm wearing. I'm a character actor, not a star. But in my eyes, what a success. Dozens of movies, including one of my faves, an award-winning role in A Serious Man. I'm just getting started. You won a Drama Desk Award on Broadway in The Big Night, voice performances and animated features like A Bug's Life, Cars, and Toy Story. You've been all over TV, Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of my faves, and right now a recurring role in Only Murders in the Building. A Trenton native, a member of the Pennsbury High School Hall of Fame, a great guy, an okay golfer. Richard Kind, welcome to Fresh 24.
Thank you, Mark. But you forgot one of my favorite of favorites that everybody's going to know, Bing Bong and Inside Out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Jiminy Cricket of our kids' generation.
Why is that one of your favorites?
Oh, it was a great character. It's a phenomenal movie. It teaches lessons. It's like saying, why is Pinocchio a great movie? And why is Jiminy Cricket a great character? Now, I'm not talking about my performance. I'm talking about what Pete Docter wrote. But it's genius. It was fantastic.
How much of what you do is you versus getting into a character that's maybe totally not you?
All right. There we go. There's the age-old question about my acting. I ain't that good. Here's me. Here's the character. Where do we intersect? They all sound like me. They all have emotions that I probably have had. They just don't say the words that I usually say. And therefore I act them out. But here's the thing, though, and I'm talking about Inside Out. Daniel Day-Lewis can get on set and he goes, call me Mr. President. Don't call me Daniel. Just, I'm always Abe Lincoln. I'm always there. No, you're not. You're not Abe Lincoln. You may try and try and try and try to be Abe Lincoln, but you're not. All these characters, I'd love to be them, but I ain't. So you play pretend. You pretend like you're that character. And then sometimes you get away with it. So he pretends that he's Abraham Lincoln. But no matter how. Now, when I was doing Inside Out, there's a famous scene, spoiler alert here, for those of you who have seen it, but you know what? It's your fault. You deserve to be spoiled if you haven't seen it. There's a scene that's fairly famous where I am sort of a Christ figure, where I sacrifice my life for this girl, my existence. It was such an emotionally fulfilling moment that I kept asking for another take. And I kept asking for another take. And I know he had it on the second, third, fourth time. We must have done 25, 30 of them. I go, wait. Let me do it again. I think it's because I came really close to the emotion of that character and felt it so deeply that I kept wanting to do it again and relive it. And in theater, you can do that. But in movies, you can't. Once you've done it, goodbye, take some Coca-Cola on the way out and drive home. but I kept wanting to do it and wanting to do it, and it was very fulfilling, that particular scene. And I think I felt very close to the character. I felt close to his emotion. And it was a lovely and glorious moment that I kept wanting to do over and over and over again.
Are you normally a perfectionist? Do you
Oh
typically
yes,
ask it? Okay.
a very much a perfectionist. Give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one. There's a famous story about John Ford. You know John Ford, the movie
Of
director.
course.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's a documentary out on him, by the way. It's
Oh,
very
there's
good.
yeah, he was
It's
brilliant.
very good.
And he was a jerk, but he was brilliant. And uh, he had his crew. He knew who he was. It was all in the casting. So he had this actor who said, "Let me have another. Let me have another take." And John Ford said, "No, no, no, we got it." He goes, "Please let me just try once more." John Ford goes, "I got it." He goes, "One more for me." John Ford goes, "Okay, one more for you." They do it again. John Ford goes over to the movie camera, opens it up, takes a pair of scissors, cuts out the film, and go, "Here, this is for you." So,
Wow.
pretty funny story.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. He wasn't a nice guy to do something like that. Here's an actor
Oh,
who's
oh
busted
no,
his
no,
hump.
no. John Ford was a jerk. He used to call John Wayne a coward. He knew because John Wayne never went into the army, and John Ford was a big military man,
Right.
and he can we curse on this podcast?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, this is the area code. You know, he in essence called him a pussy all the time.
Mm,
He
mm.
did. John Wayne.
Wow.
So there you go.
Listen, we're going to talk extensively about your career, the entertainment business, what it's like not being an A-list actor, and one of your best boys, George Clooney. I'm going to get to all that, but first, this is a Sixer-centric podcast. Did you have any vibe? Now, you went to Pennsbury High School, Bucks County. Did you have any Philly sports vibe, a Sixers
You know,
vibe?
I used to go to the Phillies games back when it was Connie Mack Stadium. Richie Allen's sister was my nanny for a while.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Um, I am a peripheral sports fan in that I more loved going to the games. Like my cousin worked for was it WPHL that had the hockey games? Was that
WKBS was Channel 48,
no
WPHL,
PHL? It was
WTA.
Channel
Okay.
17 back
Okay.
when we used to call them channels. So I got to go to hockey games, which I never understood. Never understood hockey. To this day, I don't understand, but I love them. I think they're great. Uh, I really didn't go to any Eagles games, but I was an Eagles fan. But people are rabid Eagles fans. I never was. I didn't really become a huge football fan. I don't know why. Here's my attitude towards sports teams, especially now. If they can switch teams because they're getting more money, because they got a better deal, I can switch. And because of my position in the world, and I sometimes become friends with them. The best example is Tim Wakefield was a good friend of mine. Okay.
The knuckleballer
Uh,
pitcher.
the knuckleballer, he's from Florida. I did a lot of his charities. I'm a New Yorker. And here I am going to Boston games and liking Tim Wakefield, liking Johnny Damon because I played golf with them.
Yeah.
How can I not root for these people who were my friends? And then Johnny Damon goes to the Yankees. So not only did I go from the Yankees, and I used to sit behind CC Sabathia's family when I went to Yankees games. But back when I was at Second City, you know, the Cubs. Well, how can you? You're always a Cubs fan in your. Oy.
Yeah.
But I knew all of those players. I knew every one of the Bears back when they were the great team.
Like the
I knew
86 team. Like
the
the
'86
86 team.
team. I was in Chicago during that time. I'd go drinking with them. I
Wow.
knew them all. I gave acting lessons to. This is the horrible thing. He was a handsome guy. He's now an actor. Anyway, one of the guys. I gave him. I taught him improv at Second City. So these guys are my favorites. And then I go back and forth. And the killer is I belong to a golf club out in LA. And Dave Roberts. I never have liked the Dodgers. There are certain teams that I just will never like. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like the Cowboys. Never liked the Dodgers. Dave Roberts is now a member of the golf club, and I played golf with him. Mookie
And
Betts.
wait, you did meet Dr. J, right?
I met Dr. J, but way after he had been playing. Way
Mm-hmm.
after. But he's so kind. He was so kind to me. And I know I didn't play with him, but we were at the same tournament. I just couldn't believe that I was meeting Dr. J. I mean, he was iconic, but I didn't follow the Sixers. As a matter of fact, I think I know more about the Sixers now where I follow them. The funniest story is one time, my kids are now 20 and 22. I have three kids. The twins are 20. And back when they were about 12, 13, 14 years old, my son was a pretty good basketball player. And my daughter was a good basketball player until she got 2 concussions.
Mm.
And I come down to the living room and they're watching the Knicks. And they're into basketball. And I go, what are you doing watching the Knicks? They go, they're our favorite team. I go, you're young. You can pick a great team. What are you doing picking the Knicks? But the Knicks are okay now. It's basketball I don't follow. I really don't. I guess because it was winter. I'm always on stage in the winter. I'm always working. And maybe that's why. During the summer, like when I was at Second City, I could go to the games. They were, especially in Chicago, they were day games. There was a time when the Cubs had no night games. Remember?
Oh yeah.
I used to go to the day games. Maybe that's the reason why. I'm always working at night.
Hey, it's Marc Zumoff. Join me and Philly sports favorites Seth Joyner, Mike Quick, MMA champ Eddie Alvarez, Joe Conklin, Dee Lynam, Matt Cord, Ricky Bowe, and the Cuz, Anthony Gargano. What a lineup! We want you to join us on the Bet Parks team. Bet Parks is the official winning partner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the only casino and sports book that yours truly, Marc Zumoff, recommends and uses. Whether your team scores or not, there's always another way to win on the Bet Parks online casino and sportsbook app. Bet Parks has your seat with a live dealer for all your favorite classic casino games. Right on your phone and wherever you are, the tailgate, the stadium, on your couch. Double down on fourth down. Make downtime fun time. Play live dealer blackjack, craps, roulette, and more while watching the game. Bet on all your favorite sports. Bet the Birds, pro football, and college football. Download the Bet Parks app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Play hundreds of exciting online slots. New users download the Bet Parks online casino app and sportsbook and get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Casino bonus must be wagered. See betparks.com for details. Must be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
So you say Second City, of course, Northwestern University's North Shore. You were pre-law there. What got you into acting from being pre-law? I mean, was pre-law just something you sort of did, or did you really think you'd be an attorney?
My dad had a jewelry store in Princeton, New Jersey. His competition.
Wait, what was it called?
LaVake.
Yeah, I remember it because I did radio in Princeton back in the day in the mid 70s. 221 Witherspoon Street, WHWH Radio.
Yes, WHWH.
Yes.
Well, my dad's store was right next to Langrocks, the men's clothing store. He had a big jewelry store, really big. It's now a Ralph Lauren. Everybody today knows the jewelry store is Hamilton, but my dad Hamilton wasn't there. My dad ruled Princeton. You either went to my dad's store or you came into New York and did your jewelry buying. But they trusted my dad. So I was supposed to go into my dad's business. It was going to be passed down to me. And he said, if you want to go into the business, you got to get a law degree and a business degree, double, because that's how he always regretted not having that education. So I go, okay, because you listen to your father, and then one afternoon we were watching the Eagles. It was in January. We were watching football, and his best friend, Steve Holzman, we were sitting on the couch, and he said, "Why don't you try acting for a year?" So what is it? Not when you delay going to law school. I had been accepted. I was accepted and everything like that. And he goes, "Why don't you delay it for a year? Because when you're 40, you're going to resent your wife and your children that you hadn't tried it." So I tried it for a year, and I was good, and I was
So
having fun.
you must have done something in front of this guy that caused him to tell you to do this. You must
Oh,
have
he
had
used to
some.
come. He knew I was a good actor. He used to
Okay,
come see
fine. So
my.
you had been in plays in high school, that kind of
Oh
thing.
yeah. No,
Okay,
he
fine.
knew. He knew
Okay,
I was
okay.
that was my love. That he came and saw me do these plays. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right.
He knew.
You mentioned Second City, of course, really well known as an improv group. I'm going to jump to Curb Your Enthusiasm because so much of that, from my understanding, and you would know firsthand, is improv.
And a lot
How
of
do
people
those
say,
scenes work? Tell me how those scenes work where you're
well,
improvising.
first of all, thank you for calling it improviser. So many people say you ad lib. We don't ad lib. We improvise. So if I were to give you a situation that two guys are at a park bench and one of them has a sandwich and he says, "Can I have a bite?" And you start talking, "No, you're a stranger," whatever it is, and you keep heightening the reality. Well, Larry used to write a fairly detailed short story, all prose, paragraphs. This is what's happening, no dialogue. I write every once in a while. He'll put in quotes or parentheses what somebody would say, but it's a line. But it's like taking an O. Henry story and you improvise it. You have you do the one with the lock and the watch. The lock of hair, the beautiful hair, and you say, okay. They talk about, oh, what a beautiful watch you have. You should get a chain. Oh, no, 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 whatever it is, and then you just do different scenes, and that's what it is.
Is it hard to do that? What I'm getting at is this. Are people who are good at improv, are they born or can you learn to improv?
You're asking really good questions, Mark.
That's what
So
I do.
let me take some time out to say, that's a very good question.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think some people just have a gift. They're just good. Now, some people are just funny. They just stand on stage and they're funny. Some people are really good actors and can act a scene, but they're not funny. A good improviser for Second City does both. But what I always say is, in order to be a good actor, you don't need to improvise. But in order to be a good improviser, you must know how to act. And that's a really important thing.
So you just contradicted yourself because you started this whole thing saying that you're not a good actor, but you were terrific in Curb, and I know you've done
No,
tons
no,
of
no. I
improv.
said I didn't. Oh, I don't say I'm not a good actor. I'm a good
What
actor.
did what did you say?
I don't know how good an improviser I am,
Oh, okay.
but I learned how to be a good improviser. People think I'm really good. People think I'm a really good poker player. I'm not. People think I'm a really good actor. I mean, improviser. I'm not. I'm much, much, much better than the average guy. But you do it every day for 4.5 years. You become pretty good. But I'm not that good. There are great improvisers. And at the time at Second City, 6 people in the world made a decent living. And I was one of them.
Hmm.
And I learned I was not good for a year and a half. but I was a good actor. So I was reactive. And am I a naturally funny person? Yeah. So I can react in a funny way. When I did Curb, I just had to make up the lines. I already knew what the story was. So yeah, I was a good improviser, and I improvised it. But then you do it a lot of times. You go back, you remember what lines were funny, you make things up, you say, "Oh, that was good, get rid of that." I said, you go back, and by the end of the day, you have a good scene that they can cut the best stuff together. There is a lot of hours. I mean, a lot of people think, well, writing the scenarios, which Larry did, takes a lot of talent. Doing the scenes takes a lot of talent. But Larry and his editor going through hours upon hours upon hours of takes, that's a lot. And cutting it together for a half hour, that's crazy. That's a lot of talent.
Well, another art form, and we're going to get to this. We got our halftime segment here, but I want to talk about being live as opposed to filming or recording or whatever, which is a totally different vibe, of course. George Clooney, we got to get to him, but first it's halftime.
No. Do not get to George Clooney. I
Do
never
not?
talk about George Clooney.
Oh, is that right?
Never.
Okay.
He gets enough publicity. He doesn't need my help. I could say something that he may not like. Why would you tell that? His life is an open book, or at least people want it to be. Why should I open it any further?
Well, but only because you guys are tight, and I just want to explore that if I can, and I'm not violating. Nope, that's it.
Nope.
All right, fine. All right,
but I will.
Only because
I will tell you one thing. Mother Teresa could give me a script. She'd say, "Could you please give this to George?" And my flat out answer is no.
Okay. I respect that, and we'll move on.
Yeah.
I'll respect that, and we'll move on.
You have other questions?
Oh, I got plenty of questions. Believe me. You see these papers here? I was doing research for weeks, but listen, this is our halftime segment. This is sponsored. It's brought to you by Garage Beer. It's our 6-pack of questions. Garage Beer, beer-flavored beer. Find some near you at drinkgaragebeer.com. I'm going to give you a choice between two things. You just blurt out the answer. These are Philly things, okay?
But I have one question for beer-flavored beer.
Okay.
If beer doesn't taste like beer, what else should it taste like?
Well, there's wheat beers and strawberry and IPA and all this stuff. I guess you're not a beer aficionado.
I happen to love beer. I can't say which beers I have, but it's similar to urine. I like American beers. I like the crap. But these are probably really good, fine beers.
This is beer-flavored beer. So in other words...
I appreciate it. I do happen to like it. I do.
All right. I'm going to give you a choice between two things. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Cheesesteak or soft pretzel?
Cheesesteak.
Center City
it doesn't mean that I don't like soft pretzel.
Oh, you're waffling. I need spontaneity. This is what I'm looking for.
I love a good cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak or soft pretzel, and you say cheesesteak.
Cheesesteak.
Center City or South Jersey?
South Jersey.
Gritty or Philly Fanatic?
Say it again.
Gritty, that's the Flyers mascot.
Yeah, right.
Or Philly Fanatic, the Phillies mascot.
I like Gritty.
Wow.
I do.
Meek Miller, Hall & Oates.
Say it again.
Meek Mill, the rapper, or Hall & Oates?
Let's put it this way. I don't know who Meek Mill is, and I love Hall & Oates.
Dr. J or Allen Iverson throwback?
I like Dr. J. I thought he was charming and great, but okay, I'm not going to waffle.
Liberty Bell or Rocky Steps?
Liberty Bell.
The 6-pack of questions brought to you by Garage Beer, beer-flavored beer. Find some near you at drinkgaragebeer.com. I'm going to give you a handful of artists from my music library. You tell me.
How many did I get wrong?
There is no right or wrong.
I know there isn't. I know. Jesus, take it easy, Mark.
Well, you're reeling me in. What can I tell you? Handful of artists from my music library. You tell me if you have them or not. Are you ready?
Sure.
Anything Motown.
Anything Lowtown?
Motown.
Oh, everything. What are you, out of your mind?
No, I'm not out of my mind. That's why I'm throwing you a softball here.
Motown, everything. A whole collection of it.
The Beatles.
Everything.
Okay. Miles Davis.
Not a lot. Listened to him. Slept in his daughter's bedroom.
Oh, are you going
We'll
to go
get to
there?
that later.
You're going to
I'll
go
talk
there
about
and not,
that.
or you're going there, but not George Clooney.
Yeah. Well, his daughter was not in the room at the time.
Okay. Anything Broadway?
Anything Broadway. Everything
Yeah,
Broadway.
that's what I figured.
Look at me.
I'm giving you a layup. How about B.B. King?
No, not at all. But he played at my prom.
No.
Sure. You
B.B.
know,
King?
yes, you know Michael Bamberger, right?
Of course. The writer.
Right. Michael Bamberger wrote a wonderful book called Wonderland, all about Pennsbury High School and their very notable proms. When I went to high school, at our prom, and we didn't even know it, and at the time, neither of these guys had the fame or the legendary fame that they have today. B.B. King played. Rodney Dangerfield did comedy.
Stop it.
Mark, this is a podcast. Why I can't lie on a podcast,
People lie in court.
but they will not lie on Mark Zumoff's podcast.
Listen, you're not going to talk George Clooney. How about Bobby Cannavale? You talk about him or no?
What do you got?
I don't know. He's a friend of yours, right?
Oh, a dear friend.
Yeah.
Funniest guy in the world. Very, very loyal.
Mm.
He is truly one of, not that George is, because George truly is, but Bobby is a guy's guy. He really is. He's like, the way he talks and everything. He should be from New York. He's from Florida. We are very. He's just a good guy. He's a shirt off the back type of guy. That says George isn't. It's not. Oh God, you're comparing one to another. They happen to be.
No,
both
you are.
great
I'm
guys.
not.
I know. Although one time Bobby did say he wanted to be introduced. He loved George so much. He loved him as a star and an actor. He loved his acting. Loved what he stood for. And Bobby really tried to emulate him. Bobby's the greatest guy. We have a group. I have groups of friends. I'm very, very lucky, especially during COVID when the threads all started. So I'm on a thread with Bobby and a few others, and we're in a poker group that we played at a place called McCoy's Bar down on 9th Avenue. So we're very close. I'm on a thread with George. Okay, my joke about George, I'll talk a little bit about him, is that somehow George knew that he would be a big star. And he had a crystal ball. And he knew that he was going to be a big star, so we gathered a group of friends, 8 to 14 friends, guys truly loyal and loving to each other, and kept these guys as friends. And they keep him sane, down to earth, when all about him are kowtowing or want his attention or want his money or want his fame. He knows that he can count on us to just be his friends. And he has kept us close to his life, close to his daily, because he lives in France now. But we're still all in touch all through the day. And that keeps him grounded. He's a Cincinnati kid. He's actually Kentucky. He's a Midwest kid. He's not Hollywood. And however, and this is interesting, he was raised with fame, not his fame. His father was the Walter Cronkite of Cincinnati, a magnificent man, a magnificent broadcaster. Not famous all over the country, but he was Walter Cronkite in Cincinnati. His aunt, Rosemary.
Yeah.
She was Madonna in her day. She was Beyonce.
Wow.
His uncle was an Academy Award-winning actor, Jose Ferrer, beloved by actors, and truly, because he was Hispanic, every actor. I mean, I've spoken to Jimmy. My head. Jimmy Smith.
No, listen, we're of a similar age. I get it. I
Right.
get it. You have those.
Jimmy Smith, who I acted with in
Yeah.
East New York, loved him. The guy from anyway, many Hispanic actors truly looked at Jose Ferrer. Huge star, huge actor. So George was raised surrounded by fame. But George, you want to talk about sports? Well, he knows all about him. He tried out for the for the Cincinnati Reds. He was a great baseball player. Loved Pete Rose. This is what he was raised around. He's a great and a competitor. Jesus.
Yeah.
He's as competitive with ping pong as he is with tennis, as he is with basketball. Really good basketball player. There is a competitive man. Very competitive. But he's the good thing is he can stand by it. He's competitive and can play with the best of them.
By the way,
but that's all I'm going to talk about, George Clooney.
When it's time for the game, it's game time. Game time. They've got all the tickets to all the events. I'm talking about sports, concerts, shows. My squad, of course, the 76ers. In fact, imagine this. You're driving down I-95, you pass Wells Fargo Center, you think to yourself, Sixers, they're playing tonight. Let's go to the game. No problem. This is their specialty. Last second stuff, they've got you covered. The best seats, the lowest prices. In fact, they have a low price guarantee. Wait, I can't go. I promised my wife No problem. They have something called an event cancellation protection. They've got you covered. Listen, do this. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase by using the code word. Are you ready? The code word is ZOO. Z-O-O. It's the key to life. Z-O-O. It's the code word. Your first purchase on Game Time. Get $20 off that first purchase. Trust me, you'll love it. Game Time will become your go-to. Download the Game Time app today or go to gametime.co. What time is it? Hey, it's game time.
When I was on the air as a play-by-play announcer, the thing that I loved about it was that I was live. The challenge of getting it right the first time because you only have one time.
Right, but I have a question.
What kind of a head?
Hold on. I got to ask you. How do you remember the names, the numbers, their stats? Is it out of love or is it your profession?
Yes, it's all that.
Okay.
Every day I'm always looking at the news. I'm studying this. I'm a fan. It becomes a part of your being is what happens.
Yeah.
And because you're imbued with it. Like we were talking before. Are improv people made or can you learn it? Right. Play-by-play people being able to do that kind of thing, I believe you're
made
born
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I went to camp. My name is Richard Kind, K-I-N-D. In my bunk was a guy named Richard Kahn, K-A-H-N. He was as much of a statistician about every sport as I am not. Okay? I'll tell you who's but in this thread with Bobby Cannavale is Paul Rudd.
Oh.
There's a sportsman. Oh my God. And he now has the fame to live out his dreams, stand on the field while Mahomes is throwing passes and going to every Super Bowl. What a life. Oh my gosh. And he backs it up, and his son Jack backs it up with he's as knowledgeable as his dad is.
Hey, and what TV show did you start in with him, right? What was the TV show?
Paul Rudd?
Yeah, weren't you with Paul Rudd? Oh, Paul Reiser's who I'm thinking of. I beg your pardon.
Paul Reiser, not a sportsman. Like, no.
Got it. Okay.
But I don't mind. Yes.
All right. So let's get back to the live thing. All right.
Okay.
What kind of a head do you have to be live to perform, knowing that you only have one chance to do it right?
No, you don't. Live, you have a year run. Do it right the
Oh
next
no,
night.
no. You're singing, or you got your lines, and all of a sudden you mess it up, you flub, you stumble, you forget. I
You
mean,
know,
that destroys the whole
Mark,
rhythm of the show,
Mark,
doesn't it?
Mark, you don't forget. You don't mess up. And if you do, you go on. And the audience is lucky enough to be there on a special night where they see a flub or a mistake or I forgot the words, but you don't forget the words. You do
Hmm.
them. When you do theater, you rehearse for 3 to 5 weeks. You got it. You do TV, you don't rehearse. Theater
Hmm.
is a luxury. Theater is a true luxury, and you don't get paid. You make a paltry living doing theater, and it's hard, and it's so satisfying every night. Even in a drama, it's as if you can hear the audience listening. You hear them. I need the applause, I need the laughs, but I can hear them listening. It's thrilling. You do a TV show, ugh, who the hell cares? You know, you came in, all right, you looked at the words the night before. You run them with the script supervisor. Then you rehearse for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you're lucky, where are we going to stand? These are the words, blah, blah, blah. You give a performance that's pretty good. But in theater, you just keep making it better and better every night. And you say, and I'm going to tell you something else because everybody goes, how do you memorize this stuff? Memorizing is the only easy part of acting because it's finite. You either have the words or you don't have the words. But do I have the emotion? Can I bring myself to tears? Can I make that laugh even better? Do I have the character? How can I build on having the character? That's infinite. The lines are the lines are the lines. Now, when you do TV, there's a thing that I call the ride home. It really happened with improvising, but you have it in TV and you have it in movies where you do it, and then they go, okay, we're moving on. We're moving on to another scene. You go home and you're driving and you go, oh, why didn't I do it this way? Oh, it didn't even occur to me what that line meant. This is how I could have done it. You don't get a chance. And you live with that for the rest of your life. You don't just live with that for the ride home or that night, but sometimes you live with it for the rest of your life. Theater, you go, you do it every night. Now, improv, Second City, that's the crazy one because you're improvising and then you're on the ride home and you go, oh my God, why didn't I say that? This is so much funnier. Or why didn't we take it to this different place? That's the killer. Is when you could have improvised or you get in an argument and you go home and you go, oh, why didn't I say this? That's that's
Right.
that's that's what it is. You're lying on your
Oh,
pillow and you go, why didn't I say this? That's what it is.
here's a story I've told about a dozen times, and I know you got theater to go to, so I'm not going to hold you much longer. Um,
Yeah, but you could say I got a
I,
Knicks game to go to. But
I no, you got a Broadway show. You
I know
said,
I do.
yeah,
But
you're not
but
going
this
to
is the
Knicks.
Zumoff
Please,
the
please.
podcast.
All right, here you go. 4 seasons in Washington. I'm on a treadmill. I look over, and 2 treadmills to the right is Sir Paul McCartney.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's on the treadmill, and he's got his earphones in,
Yeah.
and he's listening to music. And once I realized that I was actually 2 treadmills away from Sir Paul McCartney, all I kept asking myself was, who the hell is he listening to?
I
Who
don't
do
say
you?
that. I don't say that. I say, excuse me, Sir Paul, I think you're listening to some music. Do you mind if you sing along? That's what I would have said. Not
Well,
who are you listening to? Would you please sing along?
here's my purpose. My purpose of telling the story is he obviously liked or maybe even admired whoever it was he was listening to.
Sure.
Who do you admire? Who do you think is good as an actor or performer?
Well, I'll name people who your listeners won't know. Spencer Tracy. But I am not a Spencer Tracy type of actor. But I really admire him. I admired Zero Mostel. I admired Robert Preston. I shouldn't say that. I emulate Zero Mostel. I emulated Robert Preston. I admire Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep is the best there is. You can go through everybody, De Niro, Pacino, all of them. Meryl Streep is just unbelievable.
Why?
She's just transformative. Take a look at Sophie's Choice. I think Sophie's Choice and Peter Sellers in Being There are the two greatest performances put on film. Peter Sellers had to act like a cipher, like a blank. The words he said were uninteresting. And he was one of the most fascinating characters ever put on film. How do you do that?
By the way, Being There, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, unbelievable. Great book, great movie. By the way, and then Meryl Streep in Sophie's Choice plays a woman that you see in the concentration camps, a woman who is new to America, a woman who is in love with somebody, and then in the concentration camps has to choose the most dramatic thing in the world, choose between children. So she does everything, and she's funny when she's with Stingo and with Nathan. It's an unbelievable. It goes every direction. I don't know how she did it, and she's great, and does it with an accent. She's transformative. She is not Meryl Streep. She's transformative. It's great.
Listen, I can't thank you enough. You're awesome.
I had a great time.
Play golf again.
Can I tell you how I know Paul McCartney?
Yeah, I just don't want you to be late for the theater. That's all.
They'll hold the curtain. It's only opening night. I once did a play at Bay Street Theater in the Hamptons called The Lady in Question. And he was going out with Renee Zellweger at the time. And I was friends with Renee. She came to see me on like a Friday night. And the next night she came back and brought her boyfriend, Paul McCartney. So Paul McCartney has seen me perform. And I've never seen Paul McCartney perform live. And he came backstage.
I've seen him on a treadmill. How many people can make that
that's right.
claim?
That's right. Then one night I'm seeing Springsteen at the Garden. And I've got a great seat, but I'm not up like where Ben Stiller and Michael J. Fox and Sir Paul were. But since Michael was up there and since Ben were up there, I got up there to come up and say hello. And I turn and Paul McCartney looks at me and goes,
"Whoa.
Paul McCartney, ladies and gentlemen."
All right.
There you go.
Thank you.
I'm glad we did this. I loved meeting you on the course, and I love talking to you like this.
Let's do it again, my friend.
I'd love it anytime. Thanks, Marc.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to this episode of Fresh 24. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Check out our friends over at Philadelphia Sports Nation, a local Philadelphia sports site covering your favorite teams across blogs and social media. PHLSportsNation.com. Philadelphia Sports Nation. PHL Sports Nation. Enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience.